This afternoon, former Chief Executive Officer of Maslok, Sedina Tamaklo, set to appear before an immigration judge in the coming days after being arrested by U.S. Marshals based on an extradition request. Also this afternoon, Vice President Professor J. Nana Opoku-Agyeman says government will support both public and private transport operators with high occupancy buses to help solve the transport sector crisis in Accra. Also on that subject matter, drivers at some lorry terminals deny hiking transport costs in rush hours, rather blaming the crisis on the rising cost of spare parts for fixing broken vehicles. News Central live on TV3. I'm Kemeni Amano. The news starts right now. Now, U.S. Marshals have detained former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, Sedina Tamaklo Achionu, in Nevada, following Ghana's extradition request. She was convicted in absentia in 2024 on corruption-related charges involving some 90 million cedis. The confirmation of her arrest was made by Ghana's ambassador to the United States of America, Victor Emmanuel Smith. Well, now, the Ghana ambassador to the U.S., Victor Smith, has been saying that, indeed, I can confirm that Sedina Tamaklo Achionu is being detained at the Nevada Southern Detention Center, 2190 East Mesquite Avenue in Pahrump, Nevada. That's coming from Victor Smith, who is Ghana's ambassador to the United States of America. My information is that she was detained by U.S. Marshals on January 6th and has since been kept at that detention center. I am reliably informed that acting on an extradition request sent to U.S. authorities sometime in July of 2024, ending by saying that the Marshals arrested Sedina and placed her in detention to await her day in court. Remember that Sedina's case, which has already been decided in court, she has a sentence to serve in the country, it's become a matter of contention on the back of the extradition processes against former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Many have questioned why Sedina or similar processes have not been made against the former Maslok CEO. Now we know the developments in that area are very similar to what we've seen with the former finance minister, who is also in detention somewhere in Virginia. And let's look at some of the charges that Sedina has faced in the past, right? Because remember, I said that there's a sentence waiting for her to serve in the country. We know of stealing and conspiracy to steal, unlawful appropriation of funds belonging to Maslok, causing financial loss to the state, willfully causing significant loss through mismanagement and improper use of funds. Remember, I mentioned some 90 million cedis earlier. Money laundering, involvement in activities that disguise the origin and handling of public funds, causing loss to public property, improper payment of public funds, unauthorized commitment resulting in financial obligation for government, and contravention of the Public Procurement Act. Those are the charges that she faced those are the charges that she faced in court, a judgment of which has been given. She was found guilty of them. A sentence also given. She's supposed to be in the country to serve that. Remember that at the time, based on ill health, she had gone outside the country and never returned. And this is the development we have on that. She is in detention now. U.S. Marshals arrested her. She is at the Nevada Southern Detention Center following an extradition request from this country. Remember, the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, in a recent interaction with the media, confirmed that a formal extradition request for her had been put in place by his predecessor.
The former Maslock CEO. I had to answer questions in Parliament in relation to her, and that is in relation to her extradition. And I did indicate to Parliament that in July of 2024, the formal request for her extradition was put in by my predecessor, right? In other words, it was put in by my office. Now, the American authorities worked on it. Okay, they've worked on the extradition. The extradition proceedings have taken place in the United States. And we are expecting that, barring any appeal by her lawyers, she may, very soon be extradited to Ghana to serve her prison term. And her lawyers, of course, if she comes and she instructs them to go to court on her behalf because she was tried in absentia, that will be another, angle to the matter. But that drama will be played out here on this side of the Atlantic and not in the United States of America. So that is all that I can say about her. I don't have any definitive information about when she will be, extradited, but Americans have indicated that they've completed the process.
A quick chat on the back of this. I'm joined now by private legal practitioner Christian Malm-Hersey, who has been keenly following this case and that of the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Counsel, I appreciate your time this afternoon, but what do you suspect may be her defense when she appears before a judge in the coming days, as we are told?
Yes, good afternoon, Kemi, and thanks for having me. Indeed, appearing before the court in the U.S., her defense doesn't seem so bright. One of the major defenses when it comes to extradition is political persecution, and hers is clearly not that, and she doesn't come under that because her charges were leveled against her was run by her under Article 11 of the 1992 Constitution, and it was brought to her attention, which satisfied the mind of the court at the time, of which quorum was Justice Atari, and as she then was. And the court, having satisfied itself, carried through with trial in absentia. But there was another colleague of hers who was also part of the co-accuser. Now they are both accused person. Sorry. And then having gone through the processes and a conviction and sentencing having reached, all it meant was that extradition processes will be put in. And I always say that to the extent where one is tried in absentia and the accused person is out of the country, there's only a limit that the law can go, and the remainder is a political will. Thankfully, these governments have extended that threshold in terms of the political will by putting in extradition processes to bring her in. It is now for her to challenge the process in the United States of America and for whatever defense she seeks to put before. But those defenses legally doesn't look too bright. But we see what her lawyers would put before the court. Anything barring a success of her defense would mean that not more than 7 days after the determination of her case, she'll be brought down to Ghana. And while she's being escorted to Ghana, she would have officers with her, and that would mean that she would be under arrest while she's airborne. And when she lands at Kotoka, she'll further be given to officers who will begin her processing, and she'll be detained here. Indeed, if her lawyers here in Ghana have anything to do, they would decide to put it in. But again, that aspect too doesn't look too bleak.
I see. I see.
Okay.
Christian, how is her case different from that of the former Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta?
So with the former finance minister, he holds that, or he drives the narrative that this whole SML thing is a political persecution. Now, a lot of hula baloo reigned around him while he was exiting the country and while he's been there. And that has canvassed the narrative which his wife's lawyers in there, if I should say, are pushing. And while that extradition process remains, there was a further complication with immigration processes as well. We should be minded that the immigration process is exclusive of the extradition processes, such that the immigration process, if his petition fails before the court, then it would mean that it is going to truncate the extradition processes, and that would bring him to Ghana to come and face the charges as leveled against him. So we have a peculiar situation with Mr. Ofori-Atta as compared to Sedinam Samaklos.
I see. Her trial was concluded in her absence. Is there any room for appeal when she returns to this country?
Ordinarily, with appeals, after a case has been determined, you have 3 months to appeal as of right, and then you have a further 3 months to appeal with leave of the court. And having all these extinguished, it stands to say whether or not maybe they would want to challenge jurisdiction, maybe they would want to challenge or contest whether the procedures adopted were not right. So when those things happen, then it goes not necessarily appeal, but it goes by certiorari to quash whatever, because you are saying that natural law was not followed. There was a procedure that they identified that the correct procedures as required were not followed, and also issues of jurisdiction. So these are some of the areas that the lawyers in Ghana could hinge on to fight for her legal rights. Anything barring that, her legal rights might be quite bleak.
Very well, we'll end it here for now. Thank you so much for talking to us. Christian Malum-Hesse is a private legal practitioner. We'll stay on the subject matter of extraditions because the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency has described Ghana's former finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, as an illegal alien who has overstayed his permitted admission. ICE adds that the former finance minister's conduct amounts to violation of U.S. immigration law, which could result in deportation. Well, now, I want to show you a bit more of what we are learning from an ICE spokesperson who said that Ken Ofori-Atta is an illegal alien from Ghana that is facing corruption and corruption-related charges in his home country. We also know that ICE has determined that he entered the United States on May 28, 2025 on a visitor's visa with an expiration date of November 27, 2025. Ofori-Atta overstayed his permitted admission. Now, this also gives us a clear insight to remember that initially the perception was that that visa was going to expire in February of 2026. Now, ICE has determined that the original visa, which is the tourist visa, B1, B2, expired on November 27, 2025, which means that he was out of status, as is said. He has been issued a notice to appear and will remain in ICE custody. He will be given due process before a Justice Department immigration judge. The Trump administration, the ICE spokesperson goes on to say, has been abundantly clear. Aliens must respect our laws or face the consequences. Overstaying a visa is an immigration law violation that can result in deportation. Remember also that Ken Ofori-Attah's local councils have also made clear that he was in the process of adjusting his stay in the U.S., in that he was changing from a non-immigrant visa to what we believe to be an immigrant visa. Within that period, you have a time to stay legally in the U.S., but of course, it's also subject to immigration discretion as well, which is what we see here. And so that's what's happened. We'll turn attention to other matters now. Now, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has given assurances that government will procure high-occupancy buses to augment the seeming shortage of vehicles, which has led to transportation crisis in recent times. During a multi-stakeholder meeting with transport unions, leadership of the unions disclosed that there were issues of shortage of buses stemming from broken down vehicles.
His Excellency the President has asked me to assure all of you that he will give support to Metromas, Ayalolo, and the private sector. With new high occupancy buses in order to augment the services in the medium term. We also have plans to ensure that those that need to be repaired, that the process will be expedited to ensure they can put more buses on the road as soon and as quickly as possible. So my plea is that let us continue to work together to develop a transportation system that prioritizes fairness, efficiency, excellence. And I know, and you know that we can. We are relying on each other to make that possible. And we can do this by upholding high standards, treating passengers with respect. And by so doing, we will also strengthen the trust of Ghanaians in the private transport sector. We want to ensure that no passenger feels exploited, whether through fares or queues or even lapses in safety protocols.
Well, as you very well know, the Vice President has already visited the Metro Mass Transit Terminal in Kaneshie here in Accra. On the back of the transport crisis, we will also see her visit the Ayalolo Bus Terminal in Adenta, and that's where we're taking you live now.
Of the Republic of Ghana. On my right, immediate right, is Kenneth. He is Kenneth Amayaw. He is the head of administration. We have Adam Yao Esquire. He is the head of regulation. We have Solomon Osei. He is head of operations. And then we have Joe Alex Osei. He is in charge of transport planning in the entire Greater Accra area, not region, area. And then our sector minister for local government, chieftaincy and religious affairs, Ahmed Ibrahim. Thank you very much. And then may I seek leave of Your Excellency to add, it just escaped, to add our Deputy Minister in charge of local government, chieftaincy and religious affairs.
In terms of solidarity by governments, you will notice that we've also come along with the Vice President's team and your ministers, with the Minister of Transport and his deputy, because we are looking at the problem holistically. Apart from them, along with the Vice President's office, we have Mansa Mewa, who's a advisor on finance to the Vice President, Musa Abdullahi, who is an advisor to the Vice President on political matters. We have Dr. Hamza, who is an advisor on economic to the Vice President. We have Professor Teresa, who is a special aide to the Vice President. And the spokesperson for the Vice President, Amma Pratt, who had decided to sit on the other side. Has Khalid left us? Okay, not to worry. And my name is Alex Sigbefia. I'm the Chief of Staff at the Office of the Vice President. Although she needs no introduction, formality requires that I introduce to you the leader of this delegation, Her Excellency Professor Jane Nana Opokuja Ajiman, Vice President of the Republic of Ghana. On that note, now that we know who we are dealing and talking, I think I will hand the mic over to the Minister in charge of local government to set the scene. After he has spoken, we will then invite the CEO to say a few words. And once he has done so, then we will invite the Vice President to conclude on matters. Thank you, Minister.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother and my respected senior, the Chief of Staff, Office of the Vice President. Your Excellency, the Acting President of the Republic of Ghana and Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, our own mother, lovely mother, Professor Jane Nana Opokuja Ajiman, first in many things. My respected and colleague and friend, Minister for Transport and your deputy, my lovely and respected sister and Deputy Minister for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. You introduce everybody without your mother. Our mama will go, you see. My brothers and sisters from the media fraternity, senior government officials, good morning or good afternoon. Your Excellency, I've spoken twice, and therefore here I know you are hard pressed with time. I would therefore want to set the parameters for the MD and let him have a bite so that we give you the space. I know other queues are waiting for you somewhere. We're supposed to close by 12, yeah. Your Excellency, GAPTI is your product. You were in cabinet with the sitting president in the chair when GAPTI was established in between 2014 and 2016. And GAPTI at that time was given about 245 buses. So I want to give the mic to my technical man who is a leader of GAPTI here. He's the MD, Lawyer Dauda. And Lawyer Dauda, I have the confidence in him. He was one of the most dedicated and hardworking lawyers in the Bono region. And he came with that mindset of reforming this place. So you tell us how many vehicles we started GAPTI with. How many, where are all those vehicles now? How many of them are roadworthy? And how many vehicles have been added? And what is your effort in making sure that we are able to solve the intra-transport crisis we have in the country? But when we come to intra-transport, it is your mandate. Many people don't understand why transport will be under local government. So you explain and tell the role you are playing. The crisis, my brother is here with our mother to help you solve the problem. But I wouldn't want you to go to other parameters. Go by the marking scheme I've given you. You are a lawyer. This is the legal parameter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On that note, Lawyer CEO.
Thank you. Your Excellency, may I take cue from my sector minister to be brief, especially so when we have spent my time so far. It is important at this stage to go through the activities of GAPTI. Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive. Yes, Greater Accra Passenger Transport Executive is an agency under the Ministry for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. it is important and pertinent to establish that there is a reason why our agency is under the Ministry for Local Government. Our board that has oversight responsibility of our operations is made up of all the MMDCs in Greater Accra area. I didn't say region, I added area because we are adding Kaswa DCE to the list. That is the main reason why I said the area. It makes it easier for the Ministry for Local Government to coordinate the activities of these MMDCs when it comes to transport planning, transport development, and then issues of regulation and congestion in their respective areas in Greater Accra. And that's the main reason why we actually work under the Ministry for Local Government, Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. Now, in 2016, November, thereabout, the NDC government procured 245 buses to help ease congestion in Greater Accra and to enhance urban mobility to the extent that you could easily come and park your respective vehicles at our various terminals and join the yellow buses to your respective places to trade or for any business that you want to go by. 2016, everything was fine. 2017, everything was fine. 2018, 2019, thereabout there. When the NDC government lost power and the new administration then came to take over, under the then Ministry for Transport, 60 of those new buses were sent to Kumasi, specifically in Ashanti region. Some of the buses were also sent to Tamale, others were also sent to Takoradi, and the others were left in Greater Accra for the operation of the BRT. Once we say BRT, bus rapid transport, it meant that you must go at a top speed. You must have special design corridors for which these buses could apply. So if you apply a particular route and we have designated routes specifically for these buses, it makes it easier to get to your destination without necessarily being caught in the normal traffic. So in 2016, 2017, we never had these issues until later on that the previous government gave a directive that those dedicated lanes could be used by any private user. And that started the trouble. What that meant was you could have millions of buses, but because they did not have dedicated lanes, they would also be caught in the normal traffic. So you'll be crying for 1 million buses. The buses are brought, but they are stuck in traffic to the extent that it is defeating the purpose for which they were brought. And that is the BRT, the bus rapid transport. So somewhere around 2018, thereabout there, when they started sending some of these buses to those areas, the system actually collapsed. Thank God, the very government that actually gave birth to the BRT system and the 240 buses is back. And that is the main reason why we are trying as much as possible to revamp the BRT system in Greater Accra. And it is for that reason that we have, with the permission of my sector minister, we have gone for the 60 buses that were sent to Kumasi to be brought under the management of GAPTI in terms of accountability, how much is being spent, how much is being realized in terms of revenue. So as I'm talking to you right now, with assistance and then the help of our sector minister, we have been able to get those buses back to the management of GAPTI, together with the buses that we also sent to Takoradi, to be brought to beef up the operation of Ayelolo buses in Greater Accra. Again, most of our terminals were taken away. I can speak of Kaswa Terminal. I can tell you in authority, in all humility, that we have also reclaimed that 4-acre terminal. Because like I said earlier on, the buses were brought together with the terminals for which you could easily come and park your respective vehicles and join. Adenta, Kimbu, Amasaman, and then Pokuase, we have been able to reclaim or take back all those terminals in order for us to operate these buses. Again, if you look at the very year these buses were brought, 2016 up to now, it's about 10 years about there. That tells you clearly that the buses are aging. And then these buses are also relying on fuel. So the good news is that it takes 70% of our operational costs for the payment of fuel on these buses on daily. And I can mention figures here. And for the avoidance of that, we are going for electric buses, for which my secretary minister, together with myself and the deputy, we had tried as much as possible to go for a grant from the Spanish government, for which we are still on it. And then I'm pretty sure someone next month there about there, we should be able to get a no objection letter from the Ministry for Transport. And once that one is hard, then we'll be able to push, yes, Ministry for Finance. And once that one is hard, then we'll be able to push our matters through in order for us to get the electric buses to augment the operation of these buses without any problem. Yes. Again, once we have some of these buses brought to play, it would actually help, not only with the congestion in Greater Accra, but with the problem that we are facing where others are exploiting the very innocent commuters. We have about 2.7 million commuters daily in Greater Accra alone. And if you have observed, about a week or so thereabout, we are having issues. We have done our own study. All of us can attest to what I'm saying. That the students were on vacation. How many private universities were we having before last year? Those who went on vacation, all of them are back. And once they are back, if Ayolo buses before vacation, they were using 40 buses per corridor, it meant that the number of commuters at that particular corridor would definitely go up. And that's how come that you are experiencing congestion in those areas where the drivers are exploiting the innocent commuters. What has GAPTI/Ayololo done with regards to that? We have taken advantage of the 24-hour economy. Now we do 4 shifts. We do 1 in the morning, we do some in the afternoon, we do evening, and then the lean peak in the night, so that the congestion that we have probably around 7, 8, 9 that about there could ease up. And I think it is important that the records will reflect that it is because of the issues that we have increased our fleet in terms of the number of vehicles and the buses that we put on our corridor. Currently, we operate 6 corridors. Because of the issues that have been brought to our attention, we have added 2 more corridors. And I was speaking to some of the media, and I told them that next week some of them can join me to go and see how and where some of these buses will be at. Going back to Christmas, around November, then about there, GAPTI Ayololo, we were using 135 buses instead of our normal operation. The figure for normal operations, which probably was around 70 to 80 buses, for the day. We were now using 135 to ease congestion and traffic just before Christmas, and we are still doing that. Just that we are having some small issues relative to the number of vehicles that we have and the number of the vehicles that we also have at the depot, just like a human being. Some of these vehicles, as I told you, they are about 10 years old. They will experience some minor defect and then fault. And then we are on it, repairing all of them. Now, going back to challenges, because of the time, with respect.
Give the numbers and conclude.
Yes. So as I'm talking to you right now, we are giving 80 buses.
245.
Yeah, 245. So right now, I'm giving you the figure. Now, the Accra Transit corridors. If I say transit corridors, I remember I told that we have corridors that we apply. Yes. We have moved from 80 buses to 105 buses, which are in service. Now, University of Cape Coast, we have 12 buses University of Health and Allied, we have 5 buses. We have Tamale Transit Operations, we have 2. We have Swissport, 5.
Swissport is where?
Yes, Swissport at the airport. Yes. Yes, the Swissport Airport commuter. Yes. So we have Swissport commuter at the airport, Kotoka International Airport. Then we have Aviance commuter. Aviance, they are also at the Kotoka International Airport. And these buses are there purposely to ease congestion, because national security zone, if you're not careful, there will also be a congestion. That's the reason why you have some of these buses there. Now, so Aviance, we have 2 buses, civil aviation commuters, and that is also at the airport. That we also have 2 buses. Then we have the airport company itself, having 3 of our buses. Now we have the depot. Remember, I made mention of the fact that some of these buses are the depot. Depot means workshop. We have 11 grounded, those ones that are there that we think that we have to change the engines to, so there are about 11. Then we have, and then we have depot holding 28. And then, so when you put all the figures together, you get 175. So if it is 175, remember I mentioned 60, remember I mentioned 10 to Tamale, so that would be 70. So please, 175 plus 70 will give you 245. So that is all about the number of Ayolo buses that currently we are running in Greater Accra. Challenges, as usual, we do not get any subvention, neither do we get any money anywhere. It is the little money that we take from passengers. And we charge, on record, we charge about 70%, 20% lower than normal fares that you have. So that will take you to town for 10 Ghana cedis. We probably will take like 7 Ghana cedis. And it is out of these monies that we use to pay our staff, to buy fuel, to maintain all these vehicles without getting any money anywhere. Yes. And as I'm talking to Ayolo, we have tried as much as possible. Now you can see most of these Ayolo buses are also having Waka Now, other companies being advertised on them. I don't know whether you have them as a media. It is one of our innovative means of getting money to pay for the fuel. And that's the main reason, since I took over, we have tried to have, right now we have about 4 or 5 companies that are advertising on our buses, and it's giving us very good money to pay for our salaries together with other expenditure.
So in conclusion, 45, how many are down there?
So the Ghana one, 11.
11.
Yes, 11.
Out of the 245, 10 years ago, 11 are not roadworthy.
Yes, they are not.
The rest are all roadworthy.
Yes.
And they are all moving.
Under maintenance. 28 under maintenance. Yes, and then with the 11, let me add, it is critical that when NDC 101, yes, they bent, I think they bent one of the, 4 bent, yes, in Kumasi.
6 or 4?
4, it's 4. Remember I told you 60 buses were sent to Kumasi, 4 have been bent. So they are all part of the 11 grounded buses that I'm talking of. So so let me use this opportunity to welcome all of you, and then hand over the mic back to Chief of Staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO, for that information. And at this juncture, with the kind with the permission of the Sector Minister, I will hand over the mic now to the Vice President of the Republic to say a few words. Your Excellency.
Thank you very much. Let me address the ministers, deputies, and the CEO and your staff. members of the media, and all of us who are here. Good afternoon. And Chief of Staff, thanks for asking me to make short comments. I'll make them short. Firstly, let me thank you for accepting us and for your report. I recognize all the situations you have inherited, and I'm very happy to note that you are not feeling daunted by them, but that you are rather confronting the situation and finding solutions. I find that very, very attractive, and I want to encourage you to do more and assure you that whatever we need to do to ensure that your work is successful, we'll do that. Well done. Part of the major reason for being here was to respond to the pressures in the system regarding commuters. What is happening is that we are seeing undue long queues, frustration, and delays. So we needed to find out what was going on and how to solve the problems. Earlier on today, we were privileged to meet with the unions, and they also told us, in part, their story. Their meetings were not over, and we know that when everything is said and done, we'll get a full sense of what their own inputs are in dealing with the problem. So we're very, very happy to have been part of that discussion this morning. We believe that when problems occur, the solutions should be shared. The responsibilities are ours, and the achievements are ours too. So we don't run away from responsibilities. And when there are events that directly affect citizens, that is something we need to respond to quickly, because it's the people we are working with and for. And I keep saying that we're not even working for anybody. We are working with people. So their input, what their situation is, what they are going through, all of this should be of primary importance to us. And this explains why we spent part of today doing this. I want to assure you that, yes, I hear the numbers of what was burnt, what is under repair, and so on and so forth. And I want to assure you the promise that our president has made. He's going to work quickly on supplying high occupancy vehicles to agencies. And these agencies include the State Trans or the Metro Mass. They include Ayalolo, so you should be happy about that. And they also include the private sector. You know that about 90% of transportation in this country is fielded by the private sector. And we also know that, like your agency, they've also not had any support in the last 10 years. So we have a bit of a problem, not a bit, actually a big problem to do with public transportation in this country. And you refer to the history. We try to solve the problem, especially in dedicating lanes for the buses to ply. It's very, very important. Because if I'm going to leave my cars elsewhere and be in the queue, then maybe there's a very little attraction in using that option. So it's just unfortunate that we have to go back instead of advancing what was there. And all of these should be lessons to all of us on why we need to do things properly in order to advance our country. So I want to commend you in the efforts you are making to restructure. That's the sense I'm getting, not just retooling, but also resetting the Ayalolo system. And in all of this, let us remember why we are there. We are there to make life more bearable. So wherever we are, that is our responsibility. I know you are carrying yours well, and I want to congratulate you for it. And thank all of you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. At this juncture, I'll ask.
Away from that, drivers at the La Paz Tema station have denied transport hikes in rush hours. Let's take a look at that.
A concern on the back of the current public transport crisis has been the alleged restriction of vehicles by some transport operators. A move may have seen as deliberate. The long queues, the stress, and the lost hours are beginning to have a huge toll on the public. And the situation is never different at the La Paz Tema station. School children and the essential workers like nurses endure the pain of long waits with no end in sight. Drivers here have denied charging unapproved fares in the morning and evening rush hours.
We don't do
that here because there is discipline and strict enforcement of rules.
I then asked him about the claim that some operators are deliberately restricting vehicles, but he attributes the shortage to unavailability of spare parts for some of the vehicles.
The spare parts are costly. Also, we are unable to get some of the cars we used to operate with due to their expensive nature.
While the long queues barely move, more passengers continue to join from the other side of the road. This is the worry of many who are beginning to lose patience from the daily struggles.
You see, some people are going to work and then being in the queue for 20 minutes delays the work. So I think there should be public transport so that people can go early and then work.
Momo Kwakra, Matisse no passe de Yajimu 6 cities, right? Bayana and Yumreno, a domino, a bo peso sana, ye charge mo do saying the Osa Moji debia.
And no quarrums and a panacrano do Kwanhua. On Obey circus, only ye. First, the 50 pesos. Who do circus was also to us. None so I do circle free. In Sana Panan so 1 year, no day in Risu down the 10 cities. La Paz 10 cities. Into the idea 1 more year.
That's what she just confirmed to me, that they are going to Accra, and usually in the morning like this they are charged 6 cedi. They are charged 6 cedi. However, in the evenings, when a lot more of people mass up at the transport terminals, they are overcharged. It take them 10 cedi, 15 cedis, and that is the situation.
As stakeholder engagement continue, it is expected there would be a solution soon. Christian Yale, TV3 News, La Paz, Accra.
In subsequent broadcasts, we will keep an eye on the story as it continues to develop. It's News Central here on TV3. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll take you across the regions. Don't go away.
Why are more and more professionals choosing Flamingo Paint?
Now, as the presidential primary of the opposition NPP draws closer, aspirants are intensifying their campaigns to rally support of party delegates. Former Minister of Education and Member of Parliament for Bosumtwe, Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, says he has plans to make the party more attractive, warning that the NDC is gradually overtaking the NPP's appeal, a trend he believes must be reversed. Dr. Educhum made these remarks while addressing delegates in the Ashanti region as part of his campaign tour to woo support ahead of the party's presidential primary scheduled for end of this month.
Party for the year, and penny for now about point one by your bro. Who so now our party for Wofu. I dare back one man so me bear man penny a man said. Afibia, their teachers, ministers, and in penny for Nina. I want my call, constituency beer, no my meetings at the say. Now they are gonna for canon or my tear through more. Me a hamono or my tear from ho, or mobile, I'm the report I had a pray. May catch them all, the Amahunti, and many other system. Say, I knew a home, I'm a party for a year, party, Yahoo, Denver Coffin. Please, I won't know we are a party, I'm saying, there was special health insurance, Obeji, and not the party matriarch. I can't get a bind, you know. They are buying to me, you know. Yeah, health insurance every day. Especially a when a party you do, no party no where they a corner, near none of them why they at them. And now, baby, and Abonti will be a send these t-shirts, no more. Yeah, and future when Uncle Phone to send these t-shirts out. And then I'm why NDC Bayako no. I rehearsal. Yeah, money and none of them so
Ghana's western region is in a healthcare emergency with no intensive care unit to serve the over 2 million people and at least 3 emergency cases per day. The challenge is real. But can the regional minister's bold plan backed by major mining companies turn things around? The answer may lie in critical funding push. Rama Smith has more.
Serving a population of over 2 million people, the Western region faces a critical healthcare gap. It has no intensive care unit. Official data from the Regional Health Directorate for 2025 underscores this vulnerability, showing 1,105 emergency cases, about 3 per day, and 39 referrals of critically ill patients. In response, the Western Regional Minister, Joseph Nelson, is partnering with the Takoradi Hospital to bridge this gap. Concurrently, the minister has launched an initiative to secure a facility dubbed Takoradi Hospital ICU project for the region as it awaits the full completion of both the regional hospital and the Ifyonkwanta Teaching Hospital. Addressing stakeholders in the mining sector on the importance of this facility and the need to support it, he noted that the nearest comparable ICU is located in the central region, which has its own challenges upon referrals.
The ICU project is a very, very important project. Everything health, as you very much know, is key. The closest you can get an ICU facility is in Cape Coast. It's a 2-bed facility. And the doctors will tell you that at any point in time when it has become necessary to make referrals, that facility will be full. And even if we had vacancy there at any point in time, traveling from here to Cape Coast on any day, even when you are healthy, is a challenge.
Mr. Nelson argued that regardless of the region's other assets, its claim to excellence is hollow without a robust healthcare system.
Health is wealth. So in spite of all that we have, without a good health delivery system, we can't even proudly say that the best comes from here. Because the human resource that we have and for what we want to use that resource for will very much depend on having some good health, i.e. also having a certain system in place that ensures that even when we fall sick, we are able to get the needed remedy, the needed attention, so that we get back on track.
In the meantime, stakeholders in the region's large-scale mining sector have praised Mr. Nelson's decisive move to establish the intensive care unit, calling it a bold step for the people of the Western region and pledging their support.
Personally, I would love to commend you for taking this up to drive and ensure that the region is well equipped to respond to critical medical issues.
It's very important for the region because it's not just for public, for dignitaries or whatever. It can be anybody, and even the mines can also benefit from it.
I think it's a project worth supporting, like all my colleagues have said, and we all would have to support in one way or the other to get it done so quickly because our health cannot wait.
I think it's part of corporate responsibility, so we gladly accept it.
A desperate situation for the Western region where lives hang in the balance. The question on everyone's mind is, will this be the turning point for the region's healthcare? Irama Smith, TV3 News, Western Region.
We'll call it a week now. Thank you so much for your company. It's News Central and I'm Kemini Amano. Bye-bye.